This year, I set a goal to trail ride more, but have some bad habits we need to break. For example, my horse braces against the bridle when I ask him to turn. He will not go alone and puts up a fuss when I take him away from his buddies. Threatens to buck and gets very strong. Also, grabbing, snatching grass on the side of the trail. What should I do to make the whole thing more safe for both of us? Any particular exercises in the course I should focus on? Okay, great question. And I would say, well, man, I don't know. I bet you in the last, so I was in Costa Rica and I was just with the same group of people. So small group of people, same group of people. Um, and then I've been home for 2 days, 3 days now. And probably in that length of time, I've heard 10 people say virtually the same thing as what Ricky's saying here. Have heard virtually the same stuff, like, and they're going trail riding. The people are actually going trail riding, but they say in order for them to trail ride, they have to go with other horses, or there's some set of rules in order for them to go trail riding to be, safe. But they're not safe, and I hope you guys can get that and understand they're not safe. If it takes another horse for your horse to go trail riding, that means that the other horse is in control of your horse. You're not. If it takes another horse for you to be able to go for a trail ride, that other horse is dictating what's going to happen. So if the other horse, you're putting your hands in the hands of the other horse. Like if that horse takes off at a gallop, your horse is going with him. So you got to kind of think of that and go, oh man, I don't know if trail riding is that important until I get a certain things established. I need to have a certain amount of things established. So right now we got two older horses in the barn, not old, but they're 4-year-olds or something like that. They've been pastured together, and just separating them, putting in separate box stalls right beside each other, but and they're just a thing that they can see each other and everything. Um, uh, they're losing their minds. They're so herd bound, so goofy. So the owner said these are just pets, and they talk about them like they're really nice and safe, and "Oh, those are our pets, or there's our pets," and I go, they're pets, all right, they're exactly pets, and that's not a good thing. So in my world, it's not. That's not. I don't want any pets for a horse. A pet is something that you pet. That's it. That's about as good as it gets. You just pet them. They're just there to be petted. So these ones you could pet, but nothing else. They go squirrely when you take them apart. So they had to get used to being in separate pens. But then one had to go out to the arena to go do something. But they can see each other. My arena is wide open, so all horses can see everything. That was too much. They're going crazy. The one in the stall is going crazy. The one out in the thing can't do anything but his buddy over there. So, anyways, Ruben's playing with them and working through some of that stuff so they can be separated and still be with you. But then, so just the other day, this weekend when I got home, I said, let's separate them by a horse. So let's put one horse down there, one horse there, and put a different horse in the center, so that we can slowly that can be working for us overnight, and then we will do the rest in the pen. But um, yeah, even on the trip to Costa Rica, the people trail ride all the time. They're telling me they trail ride all the time. But they can't, the one anyways can't go without the other one. Like it's like the horse won't go unless there's other horses there, or a particular horse. I don't know. I just went in and out the other. I said, okay, well, there's a wreck waiting to happen. So they're getting down the trail. They're doing lots of trail rides. They've survived so far. Nobody's went to the hospital. But you have to know that if you can't leave at any time you want, if you're riding with a group of people and you just want to leave, or you want to just sit there and a group of people leave, or you want to go by yourself totally, you should be able to do all that. And if you can't, that means the other horses are in charge of your horse, that they have more draw and more pull and more control than you do. So you're putting yourself in an extremely precarious situation. So I always say, get things better in the corral. They're not good. As much as we might think they're good, they're not good. Uh, because if they were good, you'd go on the trail and you wouldn't have those issues. And so what does that mean? Get things better in the thing. Get going on the program. You don't have to do like everything in the program is designed, and the better we do it, is designed so you can go trail riding. You can go load your horse. You can do anything you want to do with the horse. You can do it. And depending on what you want to do, the higher you got to go in the program. But I would say, as a minimum, you should be able to pass stage two before you go trail riding. But it should be a massive red flag to you if you're, I'm not going anywhere on a horse that braces on the bridle. I'm not going anywhere with one. And I ride quite a bit, and I'm not a bad, terrible rider. I ain't going nowhere on a horse that braces on the bit. I'm going to fix that. But my horses all go everything on a halter first because I don't put a bit in their mouth till they're way up the ladder, but I'll trail ride and rope cows and do everything in a halter because of what I've done in the arena or because of the training program, because of the doing the thing that you guys are doing it well. I don't need a bit. So if he's running through a bit on you too, yikes. Um, so that just means that there's a bunch of work that needs to be done. He threatens to buck and he gets very wrong. I've seen it a gazillion times. So this is not special to Ricky. This is the people who are in Costa Rica were telling me themselves that these things happen um, with them. So I would get in a controlled environment, a controlled pen, and I would say, okay, well, how's my stage one? Can I do all the stuff in stage one easy? How's my stage two? Can I do all the stuff in stage two? So it was one of the things in stage two is cantering. I know lots of people that go trail riding all the time, but can't canter their horse. They couldn't canter in a circle. That happens at clinic after clinic after clinic after clinic. They cannot canter their horse in a circle, but they will go on a trail ride. They can't they can't canter from one end of the arena to the other, but they'll go on a trail ride. And so I go, so what happens when your horse canters on the trail? So they're relying totally again on the people that they're riding with. So, and I don't know I don't know if the people that they're riding with think about it, but if their horse does anything, they're the ones that's in charge of that person's safety. So you're going trail riding with somebody that has no control of their horse. And so now it becomes all your issue. So if they get hurt or mucked out, it's because your horse went too fast or you didn't wait long enough or so it's totally on your shoulders, whether they live or die. I don't know if people notice that or think about that or whatever. Raise your hand there. Give me a big, oh yeah, darn it. Yeah, maybe a darn it. Put a darn it in there, maybe. If you've ever went trail riding with somebody and you know damn well that if you'd have took off or if your horse would have took off for some reason, they had zero control of their horse. If you went trail riding with anybody that has been in that situation, and I know some of you, so I know who's been doing it. Some of you I don't know, but darn it. That's it. Darn it. Darn it. Yes. Yeah, give it a few, a few darns. Darn it. So watch out because you're really not doing the people any favors. So like, um, you're not doing the people any favors by taking them along. They're going on a trail ride, but what did you accomplish? They're happy they went on a trail ride. It's their dream to go on a trail ride, but what did you really accomplish? You might have given them false hope. They might go trail riding with somebody else next time, and those people decide to go for a lope. I remember years when I was younger, and the people we'd be riding with, they'd be mad as hell if you uh, loped, or if you went somewhere or did anything. So you had to ride at the speed of them because they have no control of their horse. So they go, "Don't you canter, don't trot, don't do this, don't do that." And and it's kind of the norm actually, but when you stop and think about it, the person like if I'm on a horse that I have zero control of, it's completely in the other people I'm riding with and their horses are in charge of my horse. That's not somewhere I'm going. I ain't doing that. I used to do it. Well, I don't know if I did actually. I think I might have missed that mostly. I think most of my horses I had control of, even when I was a little kid, because I rode all the time by myself. So but I was so little that if they took off, I didn't have any strength, anyways. But I definitely know that I've rode with lots of people that we all go trail riding, and knowing full well that those guys have zero control of their horse. If I take off right now, they're dead. All of them, their horses are taken off, and there's going to be no stopping them. So to me, that's craziness. If we know better, if we stop and think about it a little bit, we go, that's crazy. Um, so what we need to do is get to work on our horses because it pays in tenfold. Like there's a reason that horse is pulling on the bit, and it means that we haven't developed ourselves and the horse far enough along. That's why they're so goofy, and they can't hold their stuff together. Um, I would say that stud colt. So Aaron was here and seen it. So you've seen the first ride, and I rode it again today, Aaron. But I would say, because of my experience and whatever, but I'll get that horse in a place in on day five, by day five, that I could go trail ride that horse myself. I could ride him if it was summertime and I wanted to, I could ride him to the river. And so that's 5 days of, a little bit of groundwork and a little bit of whatever's. But the only reason it is because these things that we talk about on these Zooms here, I try to be as close to that as I can, and I'm trying to be as close to the truth as possible. Therefore, what I'm able to do with horses, and I'm trying to put value in the right places. I'm trying to put value in the right places. So going on a trail ride when you're completely out of control is not a place that I would put value. I'm going to put value on my horsemanship, and I'm going to put value on trying to get better. And then I'll trail ride anytime I want. Like I can trail ride sooner and faster, than most people, and do it safer on young colts. Like that, I started on Monday and I'm riding Friday down to the river by myself or with a group. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Um, but it's because I didn't put all my value on going trail riding. I put my value on getting my horsemanship right. I put value on preparing my horse. So because I did that, then I learned the skills, what it requires to do it. So therefore I can do it really fast. And I can take a bazillion horses trail riding and just not even worry about it. I'll be safer than somebody that's been riding for 10 years. So I can literally go riding with somebody that's been trail riding for 10 years, and my 5 day colt will be safer. I have more control of them. I know what to do in all the sticky situations because I put the value and the importance on learning and developing myself and developing my horse ahead of some of the things like trail riding or whatever. So, yeah, I would grabbing and snatching grass makes sense, right? Because if the horse is pushing on the bit and hard on the bit, he ain't going to listen. He's just going to dive for the grass whenever he wants. But how did he get so heavy and so dull? You always got to question that. Why is he like that? Why is this? Why is that? Remember, that's our best question. Why? Because we can't talk about how to fix it or what's going to fix it unless we know why it's happening. But horses don't get heavy by themselves. Like they don't get heavy on the halter, heavy on the bit. They're not born that way. They get that way, by what we're doing. So so I say, okay, I need to back the bus up, and I do want to go trail riding. I want to do this, I want to do that, whatever we want to do, whatever floats your boat. And I like doing most everything. Um, but I'm always gonna prepare my horse, prepare myself, and whatever that takes. So for me now, because I put the time and effort in, it doesn't take no time. I'm do lots of crazy things with many, 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 many horses. Takes no time at all, which it also can do that for you too. But you have to go through the same journey I went on. You're gonna have to go, and you don't have to, you don't have to go as far as I have if you want. You don't have to do that, but you're gonna have to go on a journey of development so the doors keep opening for you. So again, the people that were here this week, they're telling me every one of them have told me more than one story, and it's only been 2 days of how many doors have opened for them, um, just with the little bit that they have been doing. And the more they do, the more doors open. Um, we got talking about this because Erin was worried that she was going to make mistakes with her horse, and so she was all concerned. But she did play with one of them, and of course, he was the one she played with was the easiest one for me to deal with. He was like much further ahead than the other one. And I started doing the stuff, and I said, "Man, this is just going too easy, too good." And I said, "Aaron, did you do this with him?" And she goes, "Well, yeah." And I go, "Well, there you go." So Aaron's learning. Hasn't passed stage one yet, but the proof's in the pudding because the almost 2 year, no, he is 2 or almost 2. The older one of the two was definitely easier to handle, and he definitely had stuff already figured out. So I could just go faster with that one. Did twice as much with him as the other one that hadn't been handled. So, um, anyways, uh, yeah, I wouldn't pull certain things out of I wouldn't cherry pick, and that is another typical human behavior to cherry pick things out of the program. You can if you want, but all I can do is give you my best advice, and my best advice is do everything in stage one, then do everything in stage two, and so on and so forth. And what good is very drastically changes as we learn more. Um, yeah, just things, just we believe we did good warm up, or we did a good groundwork, or we did whatever, and we are doing great, fantastic, maybe from what we were doing, but might not be good enough for what it is you're about to do. It's making things better and safer, but needs to be better yet. And how you do that is just keep going through the stages. So, the typical answer with the typical teacher, instructor, person with all these things, like with the mounting block or trail riding, whatever, they will try to tell you to do things on the trail. I will do the opposite of that and say, no, don't head for the trailer when you have a trailer loading problem. Don't head for the trailer. Get other stuff working first. So when you go to the trailer, you basically have no problem. Don't go trail riding to fix your horse. Fix your horse in the pen so that when you go trail riding, it's really a non-issue. So when I go with these colts, it'll be a non-issue. If I want to go to ride the river, it's basically a non-issue. It's not because I went on a million trail rides. It's because what I did in the arena, I got them listening, got them soft. I'm got my, really working on my feel and timing and trying to reward all the good stuff, letting the horse, being very clear, lots of clarity for the horse. So this is what we do. This is not what we do over here. This is what we do over here, and just get that real clear. And so we head out in the trail, and he's out in the big blue yonders, and he still holds together. So, um, hopefully there's something in there that you can use, like grabbing and snatching grass. I can give you a specific thing to do right while you're there, but it's not the big picture, and the big picture is what's important. Like you could just every time his head goes for grass, rather than pulling on his head, you just give him a swat on the butt, and his head will come up. If you swat him on the butt, his head will come up like this. And so every time you go, oh, you swat him on the butt. But it still doesn't fix the main problem. It's still our feeling timing isn't any better. It's a trick sort of a thing. It's like, yeah, he doesn't dive for grass anymore. Whoopie ding. He's still out of control. He's still pushing on the bridle. He's still and depending on who you talk to, they'll say, well, get a bigger bit, get a different bit, do this, put something more torturesome in his mouth to get the job done. And I would say take the bit out of his mouth, get in the pen, follow the program to the letter, and watch how amazing things happen.